Part 2 of Local 6 Legal Line, and we had one leftover question regarding divorce, and Mark said that Teris can handle this, so we're going to throw it at her. This is from Beverly, who says, I was married for 10 years before we divorced. I'm wondering, will I get a portion of it when he starts collecting it, or will I have to wait until he dies? And I'm assuming she's talking about his retirement.
Sure. Well, you won't have to wait until he passes away. There are two options. You can take it out now, and you might have to take a penalty on that, however, and that's something you have to, look at the plan itself. Or you can wait and put it in your own 401k and wait until your retirement age, and then you won't have to have that penalty most likely.
Your question's taken at 1-888-208-6946. We have a question from Danny, who says, I have heard of the no-knock warrants, but what is a knock-and-talk warrant? I guess, is there a difference? And if the police do knock, do I have to let them in?
Sure. Well, there's really no such thing as a knock-and-talk warrant. The police can do a knock-and-talk where they just walk up to your door like any normal citizen and knock and say, hey, we want to talk to you about XYZ. In that case, you do not have to talk to them. You don't even have to open the door if you don't want to. And if you do open the door, be careful about what you say. They may not be honest about why they're there, but you don't have to answer the door. You don't have to speak with them. If they have a warrant, they're probably going to come in your house whether you let them in or not. But the difference between a no-knock warrant and just a regular warrant is that they do have to knock and announce their presence before they kick in your door or anything like that. Ask for a copy of the warrant, look over it, make sure it's the correct address, make sure it's your correct name, all that information is correct. And if there is some incorrect information, tell them about that. But other than that, do not speak with them. Ask for your attorney to be present. You have to ask that very clearly and firmly, and then keep your mouth shut and don't say anything else.
We have an anonymous viewer who says, can police approach an ex-spouse and ask them to testify against me for information about events that took place while we were married?
Yes, so in Kentucky, we have two different types of spousal privileges. There's the spousal testimony, where your current spouse cannot testify against you, and then there's the confidential communication privilege. So that covers ex-spouses, which I think is what you're asking about. And an ex-spouse can be asked to testify against you, but they cannot testify about confidential communications that you had with them. So if you were out with a group of friends and said something, they could testify as to what they heard because that wasn't confidential. But if it was just you and your spouse in a room, that's confidential, and they're not allowed to testify about those items, even after the divorce.
Got a little bit less than a minute left, and real quickly, can police take my money, vehicle, and personal property that they found during a search, even though they haven't charged me with a crime?
So they can, but it depends on the situation. If there's an ongoing investigation, they may keep those items until their investigation is finished. And there's also what's called the civil forfeiture statutes, which are different in each state, which allow police to confiscate things, even if you're completely cleared of charges, if they can prove that those items are somehow linked to criminal activity in any way.
Our thanks to Teris Swanson, and during the first break, Mark Bryant of the Bryant Law Center for some very good information on today's edition of Local 6 Legal Line. If you would like to review either one of these segments, as I mentioned earlier, give us just a little bit. We'll work our magic. Toss it up under the Legal Line icon online at WPSDLocal6.com. A quick wrap of midday after the break.